Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gann, alongside my partner, Jack and Nicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of our favorite teams from around the league. If you don't have the chance, go check out our website, justsayingfootball.com. Follow us on Instagram at JustSayingNoGWJS for article and video updates. And don't forget to get us in your ears at Spotify at Just Saying Football. We're here with a great one. It's fantasy football season. It's mock draft season for fantasy. We got our two boys, Garrett and Garrison.
Yeah, thanks for allowing us to be partaking in this hopefully annual fantasy football draft or mock draft.
But a quick question before we jump into this. Garrett, huge trade today for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got Jalen Ramsey. You lost Minka Fitzpatrick. You also got Jonnu Smith. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty bad, not going to lie. We lose a big piece of our locker room, that leadership role. Also, I don't know why we would give him up. We signed Darius Slay. We have Joey Porter Jr. I think we have a decent to solid secondary. So I don't know if there's beef or Minka is not going to re-sign with us. I know he's 2 years left. I think he's like 17 and 18 million. Losing him is going to hurt us in the long run, I think. Getting Jalen Ramsey in that, I think is, it's nice, but, I want to see what he's going to do at 30 years old with 4 years on that extension, and we're going to be paying him a lot of money. And Jonnu Smith, I know he's pairing it back with Arthur Smith. Hopeful for that. Intrigued to see what offense they're going to run since we have no targets. So I'm trusting them until I don't want to trust them. I know last year on the last video I talked about Mike Tomlin. Just trust him, let him do his thing. I'm going to stand by my statement. Just let him do his thing. Let the man cook. And follow me after week 18 and ask me how I'm feeling, man.
Yeah, let's see how much Jalen Ramsey has in the tank. 30 years old. That's usually the age where we all get worried in sports unless it's baseball. So let's be honest here. All right. We're going to jump right into this, guys. I do not have the first overall pick.
Yeah. Let's do
It's going to be all left to the auto draft. Are we ready here?
We're ready.
All right, sure. Draft. Yeah, we are ready. All right, Jamar Chase already off the board.
No shocker there.
No shocker there. That was going to be my pick if that was available, but it looks like the bot in front of me is actually smart. I'm hoping that Saquon Barkley repeats and he breaks the Madden curse.
No. All right. Of course, I wanted to go Justin Jefferson. I'm going to get Jahmyr Gibbs.
Awesome. So we got 4 receivers, 3 running backs off the board. It's going to be a tough choice here. But I think at this point, damn.
Malik Neighbors.
I'm going to go Malik Neighbors right there. He's sitting right there.
Yeah, I got blessed with the near double pick, so this is going to be an interesting spot for me. I am looking at Brian Thomas. I like the new coach. Hopefully Trevor Lawrence can push it together. And why not get the second coming of a great generational running back, Ashton Dent.
Yeah, Garrison, looking where you are at the turn and who's available, honestly, I would be happier in that position because you have a load of players. Usually if you're drafting in the top 5, odds of them hitting a top 3 or top 2 in their player position is very hard.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one for me. I mean, I was looking here. I wanted Gentry or McCaffrey at this turn, but I think my best option right now is going to either be if I want to reach for Brock Bowers, but I'm actually going to go safe. I'm going to go Devon H in there, and I'm going to pair him with Neighbors.
You're confident Brock's not going to be number 1 tight end? That's why you want to go for him? Or
all right, so this...
You don't see value there, Jack?
I just don't. I love tight ends. I think that there's such a positional advantage there, him especially. But I would rather get him probably a little later because I definitely wanted to make sure I got myself a running back before going into round 3 because this is going to be a big drop.
Yeah, so I do not necessarily love Jackson Smith and Jigba right here. I know I'm desperate for a wide receiver at the moment, and this is where I hate to do this, but your boys are just going to grab Josh Allen early because I'm 9 picks away, and I think that's I'm not going to get Lamar Jackson next, so got to get a position guy now, which is a little bit brutal because I'm not with a wide receiver 1 still.
I like that. And Trey McBride goes, and Jonathan Taylor. So Garrett, what are you thinking? Because you could get stolen on the turn here.
Yeah, no, I'm going to stack running backs. I think Bucky Irving, even though I missed out on him on the waiver wire and I had Rashad White, or shot myself in the foot. I think Bucky Irving, when he's going to be the bell cow of the offense, I think he's going to be solid. Did miss out on Lamar. Sadly, in my Dynasty League, I do have Tyreek Hill, so I'm going to pass on this option just because I don't know what Tua's health is going to be like. And I'm going to end up drafting T. Higgins because if Jamar, has an off year or anything happens to him, T. Higgins is a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL as the number 1 on that team. That's pass heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm
and
looking at
stuck in that offense without having to draft Jamar. Sorry, Sean.
No, you're totally fine because I like the Saquon Barkley T. Higgins. I was going to do T. Higgins if he somehow continued to stay. There's no surprise that the auto draft chose not to. Part of me really wants to go Kieran Williams here just to solidify my running back 1 and 2. But I'm going to take a little bit of a reach here and just go Garrett Wilson just to secure a wide receiver 1 on my roster because it's the loop back, man.
Yeah, and Jaden Daniels goes right there. I mean, I like what you said. I think Kyron Williams, getting him in the mid-third like this, I solidify my running backs. I'm happy with that.
Honestly, I would say this. You better be monitoring that James Cook situation when you're doing your drafts because he looks like he is not showing up and he's pulling Le'Veon Bell and he wants that money and he could be sitting out this year. So I would refrain from doing James Cook and draft his backup in a later round if he hasn't signed by week 1.
What's the earliest you're willing to reach on James Cook then?
I'd say, round 3? I'd say round 6 or 7 if he falls there. I'd be he's not going to fall there, but if I'm not risking a 3rd round pick on a guy that might not play. Coming from a guy that drafted Le'Veon number 1 overall when he sat out, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, no worries. I gave me time to think. I do have kind of the cheating position of knowing that it's going to be the auto draft after me. So I was honestly considering taking Jalen Hurts here if there was a risk because a lot of good quarterbacks and he's the last one that I want to be with. But because Chase Brown is up there and I know that I'm still going to have Jalen Hurts available next, I'm going running back here to pair with my guy. And then I'll come back around with Jalen Hurts.
Ooh, I'm surprised you didn't do Joe Burrow for a potential little Chase Brown, Burrow.
The touchdowns for Jalen Hurts is just running
again.
Quarterbacks are going to be lethal in fantasy football going forward in the future. So unless your league is formatted in a certain way that limits that, the rushing potential of Jalen Hurts is going to be... The tush push is still here, so...
And I got to say, right here is going to be an important part of the drafts because you got Marvin Harrison sitting there, George Kittle. I am going to take George Kittle here. Like I said, I can get positional value with the tight end, and I think that that's awesome. You pair him with Neighbors. I solidify my running backs because this running back drop right here is going to be nuts.
Yeah, that was a factor, too, with getting Chase Brown instead of a wide receiver. Is I feel like there's much better depth with wide receiver than running backs.
Yep, so to your guys' point, there is a little bit better depth with running backs over wide receivers, and that's where I'm leaning towards. The issue, and then this is where I think a lot of people might struggle, is Kenneth Walker or Joe Mixon. I'm going to go Joe Mixon here just because I don't like Seattle's offensive line, and I think that that's something that people really need to keep in mind. They had bottom 5 last year, and we saw how Sam Darnold did under pressure in his last 2 games. I'm not saying he's going to be that bad, but my point is that I don't know if you'll have a good run game to rely on.
So I know we were just talking about the running back drop-off, and I was just looking at the available running backs in their ADP. It's 46, 48, 57, 61, 63, 68. It's a real drop-off. And I already have 2 viable running backs. However, I think I'm going to stack the running backs on the turn and prioritize, even though it's only 1 pick, prioritizing wide receiver. And honestly, this is a brutal one because DJ Moore is catching from Caleb Williams. I hate Caleb Williams. All Bears fans out there watching this, he sucks. And then I have DK Metcalf catching from Aaron Rodgers. I got to go with my Steelers on this one. AFC North powerhouse. Coming back around, I'm about to eat my own words because I don't trust Kenneth Walker's health. He's so inconsistent. I think Zay Flowers is overhyped, and I'm flip flopping. I'm going with Sam Laporta. I'm solidifying my tight end. I'll wait for those ADPs in the 6th round for my running backs.
Sam Laporta just blessed by the Pope. I like that. He's got the power of God with him. So I'm looking at this, and honestly, in my heart of hearts, I really wanted to get
Why
David
not?
Montgomery
Until
I realized that I already have Jahmyr Gibbs.
You can start both.
Have to worry about that.
I mean, I can. It would just be terrible. I'm looking at this. I'm going to go with there's part of me that really wants to go T.J. Hawkinson, but I think there's just too much question marks with J.J. McCarthy. Just because we haven't seen him actually play like a legitimate professional snap yet. So while I think T.J. Hawkinson is going to be active and I still think he'll be solid, I'm not going to take the risk. I'm going to go Xavier Worthy here, coming off that insane Super Bowl performance individually, not as a team. Let's see if they can build on it and hopefully what is a resurgent year for Travis Kelce in this offense, I feel like.
Yeah, and I got to say, you picking Worthy made Hawkinson, Devonta Smith go there. I do love me some Devonta Smith. I also love me some Jameson Williams, who I know is not good for anybody. But I will say, Jameson Williams, you can get him right here in the 6th round. I think that where I'm at right now, before it gets too crazy, like Garrett said, the ADPs are kind of falling into me. So I think I'm going to take my first big risk here, and I'm going to take R.J. Harvey from the Broncos. Love Bo Nix, but I, again, don't really trust the situations with Walker and Montgomery. I think Harvey's going to get fed, and it's embarrassing that he doesn't have any face on Sleeper, but we'll wait.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a pickle here, but I don't think
3
that
running backs
Jameson
go in
Williams
a
is
row.
a bad consolation prize. I know that Ben Johnson is gone, but I could use another wide receiver because I am skinny at that right now. Between George Pickens and Jameson Williams, I like the yardage from Jared Goff always a little bit more than Dak, but Dak is still good. And then on my turn, I'm tempted to, again, go a little bit of a reach. I don't know. It takes a while for me to come back around, but I'm going to go with Aaron Jones. He had a solid year last year for the Vikings. Shanzi, I hope that you like this pick. And again, hopefully he can be that kind of safeguard for a rookie sophomore quarterback to drop passes to.
I'm gonna hate myself on this one, and I already made a risky pick. But like Garrison said, it's kind of a pickle. It's low in ADP, but I gotta respect this man, Jerry Jeudy, dude. Last year, wide receiver 8 the last 6 weeks in a row, and he's just gonna get fed if Joe Flacco, especially at the beginning of the season, is there.
I like that a lot. All right, I'm looking at this. I feel like I need to get wide receiver. Chris Olave is right there, but that quarterback room in New Orleans and his injury history, I feel like Olave is going to go right after this because it's auto draft. He should not go this high. Jalen Waddle's also right there. That's super tempting because of speed. I'm going to go with my guy from Minnesota. Going to go with some Jordan Addison. There is a thing here, though. There's a potential suspension with his speeding. So just keep that in mind.
They're saying it could be up to 3 games.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. I think 3 games is fair. I'd still take him at this part, especially if you're in my situation where you're picking in like the middle, where you don't get the turnaround. You know what I mean? So you're kind of really forced to pick in like a weird window. I think you still just got to risk it. Hopefully at this point you're kind of in my position. You got your running backs and your wide receivers kind of set. Now that's your third option. If that's your second option, look to another guy. Then go Waddle. I'd even go Olave. If he's your third option, then I think you're fine.
Smart.
So there's 2 things I want to point out here. One, Team 12, I know you're a bot, but they are not taking the running back route that we have been talking about. The other thing I want to point out here is we were talking about, and I'm not going to quote Sean here because it was sidebarred, but Sean said that Jonnu Smith's fantasy football value has dropped moving to the Steelers. Can we just acknowledge that team number 3 does not believe that, and they drafted him above Travis Kelce?
Yep.
And with that said, I'm going to pass on Olave
Retiring.
because he's another concussion away from being in La La Land. Jalen Waddle fell off last year because of Tua dependency, like most people on the Dolphins. I'm not going to go for Baker right now. I would love to, but I'm going to go with Henderson, because I just feel like he's gonna win that. He's gonna win that running back room, and I think they're just gonna feed him. And it's back to me. Wow. Now,
just like that.
And just like that, back to me. And I'm looking here, and I'm like, do I wait for my quarterback in the 8th round? I could. I low-key could. And I think that's what I'm going to do here is I'm going to wait for my quarterback because I'm going to pick the one.
Aaron Rodgers.
If this is Love Island, I'm waiting for my connection. Oh, God, no. No. I hate him as a Steelers fan. So here, it's kind of getting a little like, I'm going to go for a risk here, and I'm going to go with my boy Johnson for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know I'm going, I did 2 Steelers? Yeah. I think he's going to get fed a lot. Najee got a lot of touches. I think he's going to basically
just saying you didn't like Aaron Rodgers, but you're investing in his offense, so. That's even more questionable.
Arthur Smith's offense.
He must like something. Yeah, I don't know if that's the better choice. All right. So I'm looking at it. Oh man, I think this might be a little bit of a reach where I'm at. The Jalen Waddle's really tempting, and I think there's a lot of upside. If that offense is healthy, they're firing on all cylinders. There's no question to ask. I could use a tight end. Travis Kelce's right there. That's really tempting. Not really trusting this offense for Tennessee. I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift. People forget, but he did have some time with Ben Johnson in Detroit. And I really like him kind of at this. I think he's a potential sort of like mid-round sleeper. It could be one of those guys who quietly has a 1,000-yard season, 8 touchdowns, and just sort of gets the job done like Chippa Hubbard did last year. But don't sleep on Swift.
And that line was just rebolstered, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Swift definitely great pick. I honestly think he's definitely going to have a better time in year 2. But he'll have a sheer backfield too. I like that, especially in round 7. You get yourself a guy who's getting that many touches. That's awesome. I have gone pretty RB heavy, so it kind of puts me in the spot because you do have Tyrone Tracy here. He's a great pick. Brian Robinson's still in this reach, but I'm going to have to probably go with who I think is going to be one of the better targets right here, and I'm actually going to go with Khalil Shakir. You're getting passes from the MVP. He gets at least 6 catches a week. He gets more catches than you think. I'm just going kind of off sneaky potential right now with these late wide receivers.
The back-to-back of
I like Khalil
Shakir and then Travis Kelce also going off the board. I would have really liked for him to stay. I know, again, it's auto draft, but yeah, I'm looking around, and again, I did draft Jameson Williams, but I also have a lot of running backs, so I'm looking wide receiver again. Mark Andrews is a tight end option, but I feel like he's starting to get into that stinky area where I'm just going to sleep on another guy that I can take a flyer on and not have a better tight end behind him that might steal his touches. So
yeah,
I'm going to go with, why not? I got one Raider. I'll take a second with Jacoby Myers. And then I'm going to follow that up with Cooper Kupp, who I think is going to be solid for the Seahawks. Obviously, nice. New offense completely with DK gone, JSN kind of taking the reins. But we got Sam Darnold. If he can find that magic that he had up in Minnesota for a little bit, then Cooper Kupp is going to be pretty good for us, I think, or my team.
I love that. And here I find myself exactly where I am in most drafts, where I am sitting here in the 8th round with no quarterback. So I think that's probably where I'm going to have to look going right now. I will say you guys got some good ones, but I got my guy Jared Goff here. I got Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy. I have to say, if I'm looking at that, I'm just going to go with Jared Goff in this point. He's old, reliable. You could say, Murray has the rushing upside, or Purdy has, Christian McCaffrey or Caleb. I really think that if you're going here, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, especially if Justin Herbert didn't go the pick before me, I'd be getting Herbert right here in the 8th round.
I like that a lot. I think it also just makes sense with his ability to at least move the ball downfield and the team. A lot of dump off passes to your boy Jahmyr Gibbs on my team.
Sure.
I'm looking at this with what's going on with just the roster with Jordan Addison. I got my 3 running backs. I got my quarterback. I think I'm willing to take the risk this late in the 8th round on Deebo Samuel. all the reports about him being overweight and that kind of stuff. I think, I think it's going to be fine, whether or not they're real. And I think with Cliff Kingsbury in this offense, they're really revamping around Jaden Daniels. He's fine at this level in the 8th round. But don't reach on him in like the 5th or 6th.
There were reports that Jamar Chase did not catch a football, so don't believe everything from Cam.
Yeah. Dropped every ball at Cam. All of a sudden only could catch butter.
And we always say you cannot trust the San Francisco beat writers because they'll just write crazy things, and that came from that. And
100%.
even if he's in Washington now, I'm just putting that out there.
So, thank you for stabbing me in the face, Sean. I really appreciate it, because I was going to ID, chunky guys need love too.
Goddamn right.
So this is where it kind of gets, a little bit more difficult. I have Jaylen Warren. Don't need to draft him. Already got Johnson. Already got my tight end, Evan Ingram. I would get Stephon Diggs, but, he's coming back from the ACL. Drake May, he's going to year 2. Don't know how that's going to look. And on top of it, who knows if Stephon Diggs is still going to be on the roster. We don't know what that pink thing is, but he definitely had a good time with all those hot mommies. So I'm going to go with a rookie here. I'm going to go with a rookie, and I'm going to go with Golden out of Green Bay.
Wow, that's great.
3 rookies in a row for Garrett.
Hey, spread the love. And it's right back to me. It's right back to me, man. And, if I didn't go with 4 running backs, I'd be looking at Cam Scatterboo foaming at the mouth because he's a dog.
Yeah, if you got Tyler Warren there, so you can make it a 4th rookie in a row instead, baby.
No, but I'm going to go with Mr. Irrelevant and Mr. I just got a fat extension, Mr. Brock Purdy at my quarterback position.
Ooh. Nice.
I see a couple of Sean guys just in the screen. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
My guys, all there, right there.
There's a lot of them sitting right there. I'll be honest. The Juwan Jennings is really tempting.
That was my runner-up to my Matthew Golden.
It's really tempting.
Looking good.
I don't have a tight end, and I'll be honest, guys. Just with how the tight end scope works, I feel like that's a position that you can kind of wait until week 4. To really waiver grab one and kind of luck out. Your boy did it with Tucker Kraft and Jonnu Smith last year. So I have a full belief in my system over here, and I am going to go Juwan Jennings just because he's available.
Right
I like it. Yeah. Wide receiver 1. No questions asked, and look what he did last year. I don't know.
49ers.
Yeah, I mean, not sexy as...
Wow, you passed on Evan Ingram. Look at you.
I know.
I think Evan Ingram's going to be a boomer this year. He's going to be on 5 big booms.
Boom.
Boom.
Now, this is where things start getting real interesting because you start seeing guys that you're like, oh, I want to get them. But there's also guys that you got to look a little deeper at this point. For me, I know I'm not going to be able to get much because of this turn. So for me, I'm looking at Josh Downs, who's my guy. Like Garrett said, Scatterbo right here, nice little goal line action. But I will say I'm going to scroll down a little and go rookie myself, and I'm going to go Emeka Egbuka because I think he's going to get a interesting amount of chemistry with Baker Mayfield, and I don't want to miss him in this late round thing. But he's going to be phenomenal in that offense.
I like that a lot. Also, getting to be wide receiver 3 with his route running ability, I don't think people understand just how great that's going to be for his development early on, his confidence.
Yeah.
I think it's going
Look what happened with Jalen McMillan last year.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm wearing a Giants
jersey. We got Cam Scatterbo sitting right there.
I was looking, again, tight end. I'm in the same boat as I could draft a tight end. I really don't like Tyler Warren because the ghost of Daniel Jones is on that team, plus Anthony Richardson, if he can learn how to stand up and not sit on the bench when he gets tired. So I'm going to take Cam. Again, I feel like I'm doing a kind of a clunky draft here with the back-to-backs of positionals, but I'm going to go Cam here. And then my next person I'm looking at, we referenced how unreliable and inconsistent he is with staying on the field, as in Kenneth Walker III. So I'm looking at Zach Charbonnet, like a fine wine. He ages over the season when Kenneth Walker breaks down. So I'm tempted to grab him. Is it the smartest decision? No. But it's also, I just like saying his name, so I'm going to take him here too.
Think of it this way. Charbonnet is on the roster. Kenneth Walker, injury-ridden. Walker's in the last year of his contract. What's stopping Seattle from offloading him if a team is in running back jail and they have an injured running back room, or a team that's short of running backs? Charbonnet could be an RB1 by November.
It's true.
Absolutely.
I honestly agree with the same. I genuinely think that's where we're drafting now, right? So this is the big point where you're looking like, okay, well, if this guy gets hurt, then the person I draft in the 10th round is a star. For me, it's hard to see too many people, but I will say I like Jordan Mason here. The same reason Garrison likes Aaron Jones, you kind of want a piece of that Vikings offense, and Jordan Mason showed flashes last year.
Yeah, I also do think Aaron Jones was injured once or twice throughout the season. He's on that other side of 30. I like the Jordan Mason they signed him immediately for 2 years for a reason once they got him in the trade. And that's because they expect him to at least be that bridge guy right afterwards. I needed tight end. And just a few years ago, Dalton Kincaid was great. I got Josh Allen as my quarterback. I like this as a stack to start as my quarterback tight end position just early on. So easy pick for me, Dalton Kincaid.
Sorry, Jack.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, and you made a stack by going early because you were risking to get Allen and you wanted that to pay off, and you do pay that off by getting a stack later rounds.
Mm-hmm. I stand before you with 3 rookies on my roster.
Oh my goodness.
If you look closely, I now have 4. Because I think Higgins is a wide receiver 2 on the Houston Texans.
It's almost a 30-year team, by the way. It's almost a 30-year team as rookies, just for the record.
Right on. So
you'll now see a third of my team as I draft my 5th straight rookie.
Most of my team is just legal to have a beer. So one of the things I'm looking at is tight end depth. I was going to bring this up earlier, Jack. If you held out and you could have gotten if you didn't get Kittle, you could have gotten Hampton. You could have gotten a better wide receiver, and then you could have drafted Kelsey, where you drafted somebody.
Khalil Shakir.
Yeah. So I was looking at that, and I was like, you know what? I could be, stashing a tight end that's a top option, or somebody that could just be a boomer, and I'll be drafting my backup tight end in Dallas Goedert.
Terrible pick. Says a guy that doesn't have a tight end.
All right, I like that.
And that too, if I see a team that doesn't have a position, and I can afford to take that, I'm going to take some of those players so they have a worse chance of getting a player by the time it comes around. I think that's fair. Little bullet shot right there.
Yeah.
Especially with quarterbacks sometimes. It's a good,
you deserve to
some teams actually potentially keep 2 quarterbacks in a single quarterback league because they have such good quarterbacks, like Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels.
So I got 4 or 5 wide receivers on my team, and I need another running back is kind of what I'm thinking. The Rachaad White is really tempting, but I feel like the more low-key reach right now is the Tank Bigsby if Travis Etienne gets injured or does not do well to start the season. I think Tank Bigsby, it's his job to just take over and potentially just be that boom guy out of nowhere.
And I like the offensive coordinator / head coach switch over to is going to be real important for how they run their team, and either guy can be impressive in the off-season workouts.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I'm at the perfect spot where I feel like I have I have 2 depth guys. I'm just going to keep working on my depth. But I'm kind of debating whether I should go wide receiver or running back. I have 4 running backs. You can never really have enough, but I also have a chance here to maybe get another rookie wide receiver. I can get Luther Burden. Kyle Pitts is obviously here, always a tempting guy.
Always tempting.
But I will say, like Garrett said, it doesn't hurt to have tight end depth at other positions. And I'll just take Jake Ferguson, who's sitting right here, instead of taking Dak Prescott. That way I have him and Kittle, and I feel great about my tight ends.
You both double stack on tight ends and leave me in the absolute trash where I'm looking now. And you know what? You know what time it is, guys?
Hey, you get Kyle Pitts,
the most athletically talented tight end of all time to get drafted. The one that everyone has faith will finally turn around. Michael Penix
my
will
God.
figure out
My
how
hot
to
take
throw
is
the
that he
ball
gets- Kyle.
to
My hot
the
take is that
best
he gets
tight
traded
end
to the Dolphins.
ever.
I just want everyone to notice that he has Kyle Pitts in the 11th, and the pick before and after him, and the pick
Yeah.
before
So,
in the round before. Are
I didn't
both
love
tight
again the
ends.
Chicago or Indianapolis tight ends.
He could go Tyler.
There's still some sleeper tight ends that again you can pick up on waiver wires when you find it. What is this? The 12th pick? That guy
That's
here?
true.
You know what?
There are
Because
five
everyone else is
tight
stacking
ends
up on
went
positions,
before-
I've got Jalen Hurts. Why not keep another running quarterback that has potential in Justin Fields? Both kind of reaches crazy picks, but sometimes, new teams or, new chances breed great things.
Also, don't be Team 12. They have 3 running
Yeah, I would
backs.
definitely look to trade with them
Don't
right
be
after
them.
the draft.
All right, it's me again. It's getting ugly now, boys. We're looking at some crazy stuff. I'm actually looking at a couple of guys down here. I'm actually going to go with Rashad Bateman if I'm digging for it right now. It's kind of just him and Lamar definitely made a little more of a connection last year, so I can trust him.
Would they survive Casa Moore?
Casa Moore, maybe. But everybody brings it up at Casa Moore.
All right. We're at that point in the last 4 rounds where you can go depth, or you can do what I'm about to do and potentially
Don't
start
do it.
the kicker run. Because I don't want to be the guy that's waiting around for a kicker or a defense, and I want to start to make other teams a little panicky. You're
Asshole.
just gonna get the number 1 kicker last year and get Brandon Arby.
That's exactly who I was about to draft. You get them. You get them when they least expect it.
Here, run us through the scenario. What happens when you're the team who wants to draft Brandon Aubrey but you don't get him?
Yeah, it's 12th round, 4 rounds left, 3 rounds left.
The man averages like 9 to 11 points a game. Like
Ouch.
It's nice.
That's gonna be more than what Kyle Pitts puts up.
Honestly, that probably would have been a better pick.
I think he's definitely.
man.
So I have 4 wide receivers, I have 4 running backs, I have 2 tight ends, and I have 3 bench spots left. 2 bench spots, and then my kicker and my defense. So in this situation, I might do best available, but this is not most situations. And I'm going to continue the kicker train, and I'm going to go with my boy
Seriously?
Chris Boswell.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't love the Pittsburgh offense.
I've only drafted
Special
one time.
teams. Special teams, special players.
Drafted 3 Steelers.
Well, the Giants are terrible.
Another
There
rookie?
you are up. 3 picks left for you.
No, I'm going to be that guy, and don't be me. Whoever's watching, do not be me. Learn from my examples. I'm going to go with the. I'm going to go with the defense. I'm going to go with the Commanders.
Ooh. So don't go with the best defense?
No, don't go with the best defense if you're thinking it's too early. Go when the moment is right. Go in for the kill when you feel it. I felt it.
I like that. All right, so I'm looking at my roster. I got a bunch of wide receivers to fill, especially if Jordan Addison is going to miss some time with Debo and Juwan Jennings. I have a slew of running backs. I got 4 running backs. I feel like depth is where it's at. Now, I'm that guy. I'm always willing to just take a risk. I sometimes like to have 2 quarterbacks on rosters. You never know what's going to happen. Also, bye weeks early on. And I'm willing to take a risk and go with Matthew Stafford here and secure my quarterback position with some depth. I would not sleep on this Rams offense. You got Puka and Devonta Adams and Kieran Williams. We saw what they did last year. I'm totally fine with Matthew Stafford. Even if it's your quarterback 1, by the way. If you're this late and you don't have a quarterback, and then you went with Matthew Stafford, I'd still feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah, you have to. He's like guaranteed top 12. People always forget that because he's not a running guy, but he always has good stuff. What I'm actually going to do, I think, here is I'm going to take Sean's advice from the last round, and I am going to go get myself a kicker before it gets into something crazy right now. And I do have Jared Goff, so obviously I'd like to draft Jesse Bates, but I do Jake Bates. I do advise not drafting the same kicker as your QB unless you're super confident. Even though I am in this one, I do want stock in something else. So I am actually going to go with Tyler Bass here, and since they just score so many touchdowns.
I thought you were going to say I'm going to go with Dicker the kicker.
Yeah, so I guess I'll finish us off on the kicker front. The choice between Jake Bates, Cameron Dicker, even maybe Daniel Carlson. He's got a good boot, and he's on a new offense that might be scoring a lot more points than people expect. But I'm going to go with the guy that was, I think he was the kicker number 2 or maybe even number 1 last year, Jake Bates. Why not?
Nice.
Well, I have a question for you guys. Do you guys go for a kicker that's on a high-powered offense where they're just getting extra points and stuff like that, and occasional 30 or 40-yarder, or do you go for the kicker on an offense that they'll get into field goal range, they can't execute properly like what the Steelers did last year, and Boswell just cleans up.
Nobody does that, what you're describing, better than the Steelers. But if I had to pick a guy who I was debating now that we all have our kickers, it's Ka'imi Fairbairn. I feel like, especially before Nico Collins was there, those guys were getting down to the 30, winning games, low-scoring games. You can look for that, like Garrison said with Carlson, because you're not going to have a team score 30 points a game. But if he has 4 field goals, he's going to win you the week in fantasy. But I do think that you can find guys that, are like that, as you're describing, Garrett. Like, I can see Los Angeles having kind of new guys in there, not scoring a lot of touchdowns, but scoring a lot of field goals. But they're still a good offense.
And then to come back around, I'm going to do what everyone tells you to do, which is wait till the last round to draft your defense. And I'm going to try and strengthen my weakest position, which is tight end. I'm looking at Hunter Henry with the Drake May, Josh McDaniels offense, or Dalton Schultz with maybe a revamped Houston. Zach Ertz is reliable, and I love Jaden Daniels, but he's 38. So I'm going to go with Hunter Henry. He always is kind of floating around that top 10. He has those breakouts. Hopefully it's, Mr. Consistent with a lot more of potential this year with hopefully a better New England Patriots offense, but gotta shoot my shot for a better tight end somewhere.
Yeah, you'll be streaming tight ends this season with this team, my friend.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like Sean said, go find one week 4 that you really like.
Yep.
But I'm looking here where, like you said, you wait. I don't like to wait because I always know there's going to be some sleeper that comes up in the rankings for me. So right now, I'm just going to do what Garrett's been doing all day and get me some little Steelers stock and get their defense, who's always reliable.
Yeah, I'm with Jack for a reason. I don't believe in waiting until the end. I was the one that started the kicker trend. I'm not going to wait on the defense. I am not going to take the Titans defense, though. I know that they're a good defense for fantasy.
On paper?
On paper, but it's also that they might give up 30 points. I'm going to go Tampa Bay. That just feels like the safe pick for the defense right there. Not a huge risk, nothing like that. Although I would also maybe take the 49ers if you need to.
Yeah. I like that.
Just Tucker is no longer available, by the way, everybody. He's a free agent, so do not draft him.
3 is really
at the moment. That was a bad call by Team 3, who's on auto draft. He's not eligible to be drafted.
You don't want to be that person.
Yes, this is not funny. Auto draft.
I'm not laughing. I'm just laughing that the auto draft is not up to where we are.
Yeah,
we are smarter than the machines.
It literally doesn't even have a team. It just says kicker dash K dash.
So
not even the Eagles defense? No.
So I'm going to go in my last 2 picks. I'm going to go who I think is the best available field player, and then my quarterback. So the best available field player right now, I think, is going to be Hollywood Brown. I think him getting a full season in Kansas City, I know he's the option number 4 potentially on that team. I still think he can definitely get open. We saw glimpses of it in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. So I'm snagging him just to stash him, maybe trade bait. And I'm going to look at my quarterback who has a week 14 bye and make sure I don't stack my buys, because I did that with a few people, and I'm going to definitely pay the price sometimes. But and I was really about to click on Bryce Young, and he has a week 14 bye. So I'm going to actually I'm going to keep the trend strong, and I'm going to draft another rookie. And I lied. I'm going with
Made me look like I've got
Very nice.
I've got Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts.
He's basically a
week
rookie.
after I check. So cool.
I have Saquon Barkley and Bucky Irving on the same bye.
This is what I will say though. When drafting, and I do actually believe in this. Don't let bye weeks dictate your draft. Okay, a lot's going to happen. Injuries are going to happen between week 1 and week 5 when bye weeks actually start. Don't sit there saying, "Oh no, I can't draft," Dallas Goedert just because he has the same bye week as somebody else, or I can't draft Deebo Samuel because he has the same bye week as somebody else. Don't let that dictate your draft, everybody. To round out mine, just going to go wide receiver. Going to go a Minnesota native goat and Adam Thielen, just tried and true guy. You know what he's going to do year in and year out. That's a 750 plus 4 touchdown guy right there.
Now here's
He's
guy.
huge. I mean, honestly, he made some love with Bryce Young, and anything happens with that offense, he'll get some love as long as he's healthy. I am in a weird spot right now. Got one more pick. Do I go with a low one? I got to say, Trey Benson's sitting right here. We're talking about anything happens to somebody. Something happens to James Conner. Trey Benson's getting the love, so I will happily take him with my 15th round and conclude my draft.
Right.
And the Vikings defense get picked. Let's
Yeah,
go.
with the second to last
Yeah.
pick, we can kind of go over if you want to look at any of the top guys that are still available. That if I did draft a defense before, who I would have been looking at. I like Wandale a little bit. He kind of sneakily put up a lot of points with a lot of receptions last year.
I agree.
Honestly, I'm looking.
Cedric Tillman as well.
I was also looking at
Potentially
another
Nick
tight
Chubb
end
is
that I
like
could
a
have
vulture,
drafted
baby.
over.
Yeah.
Brenton Strange, I think, deserves a shout at a new, opportunity with Evan Ingram gone. I think he is the tight end number 1 there. But I still have to draft a defense. I'm going to go with a good team that hopefully doesn't get scored on a lot just because they have control of the game for a lot of the time. With the Baltimore Ravens to round it out.
Thought you were going to pick the Jets.
Oh, wow, the Giants.
And the Giants got drafted. We love that. Mr.
All
Irrelevant.
right. And that concludes the draft. Here's a little bit more thorough look for everybody. Is there a potential team? Garrison, I'm not going to lie. Your team's kind of ass.
That's the curse of the turn right there.
The curse of the turn right over there.
I do like Garrison's team because he did mention a lot of, if this happens and that happens, and that is a big draft philosophy for sure.
Any final remarks? Anybody like anything? Anybody happy? Anybody surprised by anything? I felt like for a redraft, this felt straightforward for most people at the moment, barring anything crazy. Anybody you guys like, dislike? Anybody you think is worth the risk earlier on?
I will say Garrett getting Dallas Goedert at 11-2 was
rookies.
probably the biggest shocker to me. Having a
good
guy
one.
in that offense was for sure not he should be going before the 11th round.
It does feel like that. It does feel like he's sort of slept. I also feel like Tyron Tracy shouldn't have been slept on so late, going all the way to the 7th round.
I did want to get him if I didn't overload.
Yeah. But that was a tough one. All right, boys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this with us. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hopefully this helps you guys figure out who you guys are going to draft this year.
Yeah. Enjoy it. Thank you guys for always checking us out. Just Saying Football. Thank you for Garrett and Garrison for participating in this. We'll have you guys back real soon. We got fantasy coming up. Bunch of content for you guys. YouTube, Just Saying Football. Instagram, Just Saying with no G, WJS. Check out all our content.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys as always for watching.
Enjoy.